Hey, Southeast, I hope you are doing well. Paul writes to the church in Philippi. He says this, chapter 4, verse 4, "Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say rejoice. Let your reasonableness be known to everyone. The Lord is at hand. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication. With thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." We live in a culture that is incredibly loud. There's a lot of self-promotion. There's a lot of words without substance. And so what I love about Paul and how he writes this, how he describes this life that has unshakable joy, unshakable peace, is that there's substance to his words. Paul experienced this. If you look at the book of Acts in chapter 16, as the church was growing from Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria to the ends of the earth, they go over to Macedonia and they find themselves in Philippi. And Paul and Silas start preaching the gospel. And while they're preaching the gospel, they get arrested and they get thrown into prison. Before they get thrown into prison, though, they actually get beaten and then they're thrown into prison. Here's what it says, chapter 16, verse 23. "And when they had inflicted many blows upon them, they threw them into prison, ordering the jailer to keep them safely. Having received this order, he put them in the inner prison and fastened their feet in the stocks." Now, that could have been it, but listen to what happens next. "About midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God, and the prisoners were listening to them." You see, Paul and Silas, they were beaten, they were thrown in prison, and yet they continued to worship God. They continued to pray. They understood where their security was. That's why Paul can write these words. That's why he can say, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. You see, Paul can write those words because he experienced what that's like. And so what we're talking about here is we're talking about what the resurrection creates. The resurrection, Jesus' death, his burial, and his resurrection, when we put our faith in him, when we trust him, it creates a kind of life that suffering can't silence, circumstances can't steal, and death cannot defeat. Philippians then becomes this book that Paul writes to this church. This becomes the handbook for us for unshakable joy. And this joy is more than just positive thinking. It's a resurrection-powered resilience. And so this Easter, we're going to kick off this sermon series, and we're going to be studying Paul's letter to the church in Philippi. And we're going to learn how to live with the same unshakable joy Paul had, no matter what life throws at us. I hope you can join us. This week, there's a couple things going on. First up, this Thursday, the 2nd of April, 6 p.m., we have our Maundy Thursday service. Maundy just simply, it comes from the Latin word commandment, and it's talking about the new commandment that Jesus gave at the Last Supper. And so that's what that service is all about. I hope you can join us. Probably be about an hour, but wonderful, wonderful service to just get our hearts postured for Easter Sunday. Then coming up on Saturday, the 4th at 9 a.m., we have a women's group. They meet once a month, and that women's group will be at the Corner Bakery at Fashion Place Mall. Hope you can join us for that. And then hope you can join them for that. And then this Easter, the 5th, no Bible study classes before the worship service. Instead, we're doing a big church breakfast, and breakfast starts at 9:30 a.m. And then the worship service starts at 10:30 a.m. So make note of those. Of course, you can always go on the website, southeast.cc, and see all the events, everything that's coming up. Southeast, I love you, and I hope you have a blessed week.